In this episode, I go over my top 10 picks for New Comic Book Day, August 25th, 2021. What is going on, guys? Justin here, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. I am going to be talking about my top 10 picks for New Comic Book Day, August 25th, 2021. We are just rounding the end of the summer here. It's kind of crazy. Can't believe September is right around the corner, but really excited for New Comic Book Day next week. I always say every week is just a great week for comics. This is like the best time to be reading comics right now. The stories, the creators, the artwork that's all coming out is just tremendous. So really enjoying it. Hope that you guys are having a great summer. Please take a moment, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. I do appreciate that. And if you're in the live premiered chat right now, I do appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me here on this Thursday, I guess morning, afternoonish. It's 12:30 Eastern for me. Probably having my lunch at the moment, but you know, maybe you're doing the same or catching the replay. Either way, I appreciate that you take the time to do so. Before I get into the top 10 books, I do want to do my weekly shout out, my community shout out. So this week's community shout out is going to go to my good friend Alan, aka Climbing Comics. Put his information in the description below. Alan, you have been such a supporter of not just my channel, but really the community. I see you on other people's channels. I see you in the chats of other people's channels, and you're always supporting. I know a lot of things that I've done, and I really do appreciate you. If you guys do not follow Alan, make sure you do so. I do put his information in the description below. Looking at his page here now, I know he does a ton of different content, everything from unboxings to book recommendations, breaking down first appearances, and taking a look. One of my favorites is when he takes a look at certain books of his that he sends into CGC. It's kind of a learning process of his own when it comes to grading and trying to get better at grading. It's definitely helped me out as I'm still trying to get better at just kind of being able to recognize what a certain grade is for a certain book, or what types of damages to a book make it a certain grade and things like that. So Alan has some really cool videos where he really breaks that stuff down. And he's just a great guy. I had him on as a guest for Comic Collector Origins a few months ago. Really got to know him very well. So if you guys missed that, I'll also put that link in the description too. But make sure you reach out to Alan if you want to just talk some comics, because he's a good guy to talk comics with. So shout out to you, Alan. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And I put your information in the description below. So make sure you guys are following Climbing Comics. All right, with that being said, I'm going to get into the top 10 picks. And like I said, if you're here for that, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to that channel if you're new. And I always say that these top 10 picks are just my personal favorite picks, things that I'm looking forward to for next week for New Comic Book Day, whether it's just a couple new single issues that are coming out, first issues, or just ongoing series that I've been really excited for. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment in the comment section below. If you guys agree with this list that I put together, or if you think I'm missing something, I'm always open to the recommendations. I do get a lot of people that drop me some comments or reach out to me over on Instagram and tell me about some books maybe that I missed. So I'm always open to that. And I hope that I can turn you guys onto some books as well along the way. So I'm going to start with my number 10 pick here. It's called Nine Stones. This is a Behemoth book. Issue number 1, Nine Stones. It's written and created by an creator named Samuel Spano. Not too familiar with the creator, but this cover looked really interesting. I was reading a little bit of what this was about. Essentially, it's about this character named Alistair, who I guess doesn't really live the best life, and his father is a big boss criminal, I should say a boss of a criminal organization, and now he wants his son to get into the family business, and so with that, the kid's only 19 years old, but he gets put on a quote-unquote internship where he has to go into a convenience store with another guy undercover who is really there to sell drugs, and so they go into this whole, again, I don't know the details yet, but from what it looks like, these two end up having a connection. The guy that he's working with, essentially. Let's see, it says here, the bond created between the two of them will give life to dark presences and disturbing and enigmatic premonitions. That's a tongue twister. But anyways, it just looked really interesting, again, as I just kind of, scroll through and see what some of these new releases are going to be for August 25th. And this is one that caught my attention. So Behemoth has been really doing a good job. So from a lot of the things that I've heard, a lot of things that they've been putting out. So I think it's worth a shot. I'm going to check it out. So that's my number 10 pick, Nine Stones, issue number 1. My number 9 pick goes to another issue number 1. This is Echo Lands, issue number 1. So again, this is something that just kind of caught my eye. Not very familiar with it otherwise, with what it's about. I see that Hayden Blackman and J.H. Williams III are the writers. It's also got artwork from Dave Stewart. And let's see, Echo Lands is a landscape format mythic fiction epic where anything is possible. A fast-paced genre mashup adventure that combines everything from horror movie vampires to classic mobster and cyborg elves to to Roman demigod and retro rocket ships. Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a ride. It says all that. Sign me up. I'm definitely down to try out the first issue. It looks cool. It looks like you have this like Robin Hood type of person here on the cover, but I'm all about it. I do think the artwork looks cool here. So that's gonna be my number 9 pick of the week. Echo Lands, issue number 1. Let's get into my number 8 pick here. I gotta go with Dark Blood issue number 2. So I feel that we didn't get enough in Dark Blood issue number 1. However, I did really enjoy what I read. I just feel like issue 1 was like a half issue. And if you read it, you know what I'm talking about. It just seemed like the majority of the issue took place with the main character Avery in a back alleyway. We got a few flashbacks of his time being in the Air Force. But other than that, we didn't get too much. It does seem like there's some heavy topics within this book. I know that Avery's dealing with racism and being treated differently as he's just walking home from a convenience store as he gets followed down a back alley. But it turns out Avery has some superpowers that no one really knows about yet, and we're not even sure if Avery really knows or understands why he has these powers. So, I want to continue with Dark Blood issue number 2. I want to give it a shot. Latoya Morgan doing the writing on this. Walt Barna doing the artwork. So that definitely stood out to me too. The artwork was really nice in this book for issue number 1. So that's going to be my number 8 pick on the week. Dark Blood issue number 2 by Boom Studios. Let's see, moving along here to number 7. I'm going to go with Siphon issue number 2. This was another wild one. Siphon issue number 1. I actually talked about that made my top 10 list when the first one came out. But it is really interesting. It's about this guy who basically I think his name's Silas. Let me see. Silas. Yeah, he obtains the ability to be able to take on other people's pain. And he's initially an EMT, so he already has like this mindset of like helping people, wanting to do good in the world, and yeah, kind of help heal people in a way. And so when he gains these powers, I remember the first issue really tells it in a fast-paced way, but I like how they set it all up for this story. And you kind of learn a little bit about how he gains these powers. And then kind of what he wants to do with them right away. He kind of starts applying them right into his everyday life, trying to help out people. The only thing is, the more he takes pain from other people, that burden comes onto him, and he has to deal with it. So you're kind of seeing like how he would deal with it. I just think that the concept overall is really cool because, again, if you had the ability to relieve pain from other people, but knowing that you had to hold that pain yourself, would you do it, and how would you use it, and how often would you use it? So the concept of the book really got my attention, and I did enjoy the first issue, certainly enough to give issue 2 a shot here. So and again, this is an Image book. It's written by Patrick Maney, Mohsen Ashraf doing the artwork here. All of it I really enjoyed from what I recall. So definitely looking forward to that. So that's going to be my number 6 pick on the week, Siphon issue number 2. I'm sorry, my number 7 pick on the week, Siphon issue number 2. All right, so let's see. My number 6 pick on the week is going to be Wonder Girl issue number 3, and this has just been, so Wonder Girl, in general, Yara Flor is a character that I've really gotten into enjoying just what has been written about her so far. It's a very new character from the Wonder Woman stuff from Future State, where we just started to get to know Yara Flor, a little bit of her background. Here we actually have a full-on story, that's taking place just about her. Joelle Jones doing the artwork and the writing for it. So certainly, I'm down for this. I really enjoyed the first 2 issues. I think that the back and forth that she has with some of the characters that she comes across is very clever, and also just very like in the now. You'll see there's even like a YouTuber I know that's involved in some of the storyline. She has like some flirtatious moments with the bus driver and things like this. So really interesting stuff. Again, beautiful panels, beautiful artwork, and Yara Flor just in general. I think we're going to see her for a long time. So really excited for that character. It's being written, like I said, by Joel Jones, who I love everything she does. So I'm certainly down for some more of this. So that's going to be my number 6 pick of the week, Wonder Girl issue number 3. All right, we're moving right along here. This is tough. These top 5 here, it really, I feel like I always say this, but these top 5, you really could kind of interchange the order of them. So here, and I'm actually going to do a swap right now, like mid video here. And thanks for sticking around, everybody in the Premiere chat right now. I'm going to go for my number 5 pick. I'm going to go with Robin issue number 5. I'm like moving these things around as I go, but like Robin easily could be number 1. I really do think that this is a really well written story right now. And again, discussing about Damian, I didn't know much about him before I started reading Robin, as I'm, still getting to know a lot of the DC characters just in general. But Joshua Williamson writing this issue, Gleb Melnovic doing the artwork, and really, really just enjoying this. Oh, and this is cool. I just realized the cover art is by George Corona. As we're looking at it here, George Corona just doing the work from Middle West with Scotty Young, and the new book that they just came out with, The Me You Love in the Dark. So very cool to see that as the cover. Robin in general, again, if you guys have never read Robin, this is certainly a book that you could jump into and not need to know too much detail. There are some characters that they're introducing along the way, but even that, I mean, again, I'm fairly new to a lot of the characters they're introducing, but I'm able to follow along. So I think it's worth it to be able to dive into something like this, even if you again are not familiar with the characters per se. But essentially, it takes place with Robin, who is kind of off on his own, trying to figure out. He gets involved in this tournament that's taking place on another island, and some big stakes are on the line, essentially. But there's some real tricky rules to the game, I guess we can call it. Every time I talk about Robin, I always mention the Cell Saga, the Cell games from Dragon Ball Z. It kind of reminds me of that. Only here, this tournament, people fight to the death here. Well, I guess they did that in Cell too, to some degree. Oh no, yeah, you were supposed to die. But anyways, here your goal is supposed to kill your opponent. But there are definitely some tricks to the island that they're on, and so on and so forth. So I won't get into the details, but the Lazarus Tournament, that's the name of it. But definitely looking forward to some more of this. As far as I know, this is an ongoing. I don't know if this is ending anytime soon, but I hope that it's continuing long term. But yeah, so this is my number 5 pick, Robin issue number 5. Let's see. All right, so my number 4 pick, and actually, now I think about it, Robin kind of had some scenes that tied into this pick right here. But my number 4 pick is going to be Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue number 2. This is a Tom Taylor book that I really enjoyed the first issue. I remember reading it a couple times, and I do feel that issue 1 was more of an issue 0, where it kind of laid the foundation of what's to come with John, the son of Superman, who is now kind of taken over as Superman. But it really... similar to Nightwing, and of course, Justin's got to bring up Nightwing, even if Nightwing's not on the damn list. Similar to Nightwing, the first issue kind of opened up with getting an understanding of this new Superman wanting to do good in the world, and understanding that he has all these different powers that he can use, but not quite sure how he wants to go about doing good. You can tell he has a good heart, and that he wants to do good in the world. And he wants to do so much more than what he's already experienced or what he thinks he's capable of, or what maybe others have already kind of assigned him as or looked to him as. But, you know, you can see there's some confusion within himself of just trying to figure out what he can do next. And as I was mentioning Robin, he actually pays a visit to Robin in the first issue. So it's cool to kind of see that crossover there as well. So Tom Taylor, I can't say enough about, you know, his work and what he's been doing recently in DC, amongst other things. So I've never read Superman before. If you're wondering right now, like, Justin, I don't bother with Superman, never read Superman, never will read Superman. I thought that was me too. I didn't think I'd ever be involved in reading any Superman book, because I just I never took the time, I always felt like the character was just kind of a plain character in a way, or like too powerful, like unfair type. So I feel like that was a mindset of my own that kind of pushed me away from the character. But Tom Taylor is proving to me, and I'm sure there's many other writers too that have written Superman, but Tom Taylor is proving to me that you can there's a lot of heart and that there's a lot of emotion that can be added into a character such as this. So you know, I really shouldn't write off a character just because of my initial thoughts of something, right? So if you're in that situation now, I will say, or if you have that standpoint or view on Superman generally, I would say I highly recommend giving it a shot here, especially as it's kind of a refresher or a reboot to the character, as Tom Taylor is taking over now for this Son of Kal-El. So I'm really excited to see what's to come with this. I do recommend it. It's on the list, obviously, and this is only getting started. So issue number 2. Also the penciling, John Timms. I really enjoyed the artwork in this, so I do recommend it for that as well. So that's going to be my number 4 pick of the week, Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue number 2. All right, let's see. We are getting down to it here. Let's see. Number 3, it feels weird to make this number 3 because it really could be number 1. My number 3 pick is Department of Truth, issue number 12. This is an ongoing series by James Tynion, and it's one that's been one of my favorites ever since it's come out. I've been obsessed with the writing in this. It's very wordy, but it is such a different concept on comic books from what I'm used to, or I guess it just fits into that indie genre where it's not just heroes and capes, and there's just so much more to it. So for those of you who have never read the Department of Truth before, it is essentially about the idea of what do you call it? Conspiracies. It's the idea of conspiracy theories that are, if enough people in the world believe them, then they start to become true, or they start to really happen. And so there's a department called the Department of Truth. It's really run by it's like a world, or it's a U.S. Department of Truth, where they kind of control certain things or ensure that certain things don't get out of hand when it comes to that. So I know that some of these previous issues that just came out was a lot about certain mysteries of monsters like the Loch Ness Monster or Sasquatch, starting to become real, and how they go about their ways to making sure that it doesn't necessarily get too crazy. The main character, Cole, I really like his character. He's just joined the Department of Truth, so he's like still learning a lot of things along the way, trying to get a good understanding of the history of the Department of Truth and what the goals are now. He's also just trying to figure out like who the good guys are and who the bad guys are, and trying to find out the real truth behind the Department of Truth. So you're getting a lot of that stuff. So I think these past 2 issues kind of wrap up a story arc, and I don't know if they're going to kick something off brand new here, or if it's going to continue kind of along those lines. But either way, it's been really well done. And not to say, I haven't even mentioned the artwork yet. The artwork, it's some of my favorite artwork right now from 2021 by Martin Simmons. He's got to be my number 1 artist of the year right now. I talked about that a few months ago during my 750 subscriber giveaway, where I asked people who their number 1 writer and artist was of 2021 so far, and these 2 actually were my 2 choices. So Martin Simmons, just absolutely stunning, and he's the one that does a lot of the covers that you see here. And he's the one that's doing a lot of the interior stuff. I know he took a break on like 6 and 7. They had another artist come in for a little bit. Those were kind of filler books, but he's back on track now with all this, and it's just so dark and really fits or sets the mood or the tone of the book. It's really well done and very unique. So Martin Simmons doing the artwork, James Tynion the fourth just killing it with everything he's doing. Also really excited, I personally, for Substack and what he's doing over there. So, but that's a whole another conversation for another time. But anyways, that's gonna be my number 3 pick of the week. The Department of Truth issue number 12. All right, getting down to the top 2 here. Again, very close. I'm loving both of these series, kind of a 1A, 1B. But this is my number 2 pick. It's going to be Harley Quinn issue number 6. It really was close to being number 1. Man, I mean, I don't know what to say. Harley Quinn, the character has grown on me so much. I've really fallen in love with the character over the course of the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 months. And really that has a lot of that. I have to give credit to James Tynion, writing Batman as well. Just seeing that character from that viewpoint, and then diving into this, which is being written by Stephanie Phillips. It's just all been so great. I've also fallen in love with the artwork by Riley Rossmo, which I at first was not the biggest fan of. But along with this series, it's just gotten, I've enjoyed it more and more, and I just feel like it's become more natural and fitting more and more, that I'm just getting used to it as yes, this should be how this is drawn. Like, it's really grown on me. And so much to where, like, I've started following Riley Rossmo on Instagram, starting to admire just his work in general that he posts up, his commissions and things like that. So, I've talked to other people, some who just love it, some who also were hesitant like me, who have now kind of fallen in love with it over time. I do think it's an acquired taste to some degree, but very talented Riley Rossmo, and just this series has just been awesome. Stephanie Phillips absolutely killing it, telling some really great stories. We kind of closed out a story arc last issue, but at the same time got introduced to a new villain, or at least new to me. I don't know if this villain has ever existed beforehand. I think it's new. This villain is new just in general. But looking at this cover here, I see it looks like Catwoman's showing up. So that's interesting, because Catwoman was in the series prior to this. Essentially Harley Quinn, this past 5 issues, she has just been on track to really be the good guy, try to help out where she can, and even in the beginning of the first issue, like, kind of teams up with Batman and wants to help and wants to do good. Especially with all the things that have recently happened with the Joker and the Joker Wars and all this other stuff, where Harley was really torn throughout that entire part of the story, that she's kind of flipped the switch now and wants to do good. So she plays this anti-villain. I guess she's always played this anti-villain, but you really do see a better side of her. And even with these 5 issues, she does struggle in certain areas, trying to be better, trying to make the right decisions, and not always knowing the right way. But in the end, she really comes through, especially, at least in these first 5 issues that we've read so far, and how it closed off that first story arc. So I really enjoyed it. But there's a lot more. The way it ended, there's clearly, we got a lot more coming in store. So looking forward to seeing what Stephanie Phillips has for us here, along with Riley Rossmo. I highly recommend this read. I can't say it enough. If you're not reading Harley Quinn, you certainly should be, because it is very good. Even if you're not a Harley Quinn person, even if you're not a fan of DC or whatever the case may be, I think that this is well worth diving into. So that is my number 2 pick of the week, Harley Quinn issue number 6. Before I get into the last one, as always, thank you so much for sticking around, hanging out with me here while I talk about my top 10 picks for New Comic Book Day, coming out next week, August 25th, 2021. If you're in this premiere chat right now, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out. Make sure that you guys are subbed up to my friend Alan, aka Climbing Comics. I put his information in the description below. He was my community shout out of the week. really just this has been so much fun. These streams have been so much fun, or these videos, I should say. But leave a comment in the comment section below. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. Am I missing some books here? Do you think that there's something that should be on this list that I'm not reading, or that I'm not currently reading that maybe I should be? You know, I always like to clarify that, you know, this is 10. Sometimes it's hard to fit that 11th or 12th or 13th book in, you know, so not to say that I'm not reading some of the other things, but, you know, these are just some of the things I'm really excited for and looking forward to. But anyways, would love to hear from you. And again, smash that like button if you don't mind on your way out. But let's get into my number one pick. My number one pick is going to go to Barbaric, issue number 3. This is a Vault Comics book. And holy crap, this book... I missed issue 1 when it first came out, and I kind of overlooked it as, and I do this from time to time, and I tell people not to, you know, it's like do as I say, not as I do. I overlooked this book thinking that this was just a Conan book, that I'm not really into Conan. I'm not really gonna care too much about it. I'm just gonna skip it, and you know, I had so many other things that I'm reading, and it's easy to do that. And obviously we can't read everything that's out there, but I am glad that I took the time to go back, because I heard some really great things about Barbaric, the first issue. And while issue 2 was coming out a few weeks ago, actually, I'm kind of surprised that already we're at this point where Barbaric issue number 3 is coming out. I had some interest just peaked, and I had a few friends who I really trust their recommendations who said, you really should check out Barbaric. So I went and bought issue number 1 as issue 2 was coming out. I sat and read both right straight through, and it is a great read. Everything from the action to the humor. It's almost like some modernish humor. Very clever, very witty type of story. And yes, while it does have like the Conan type vibes, it's just a really awesome wild adventure that this guy goes on. Like the barbarian basically has he had a life before this where all he would do is you know, fight, drink, and sleep with women. Like that was his life. And then he got cursed by some witches that came along, and the curse is that he can only kill those who deserve it, essentially. So he can only stop those who are bad, and he can't just go doing it for any random reason. He's also has this axe that he has with him, as you can see in the cover here. It is literally they describe it as a bloodthirsty axe, but it is a literal bloodthirsty axe, and it's an axe that he talks to, that the axe can talk with him, and no one else can understand or hear their communication. They can only hear him, I want to say Conan, the barbarian, but yeah, it's not, it's just this communication between him and his axe. Oh, I should say his name is Owen. That's another thing. So it's really, I find it very funny that his name's Owen out of anything that would, you know, be named as a barbarian, especially back taken of this time period. So his name's Owen, and he has an axe that he talks to, and he's cursed by witches, and he has this thing against witches. And issue 2, he runs into this witch who he kind of has to team up with. So, you know, I won't get into all these extra details, but overall, it's a lot of fun. So if you missed this, it's not too late. Go back, get issue number 1, get issue number 2, catch up to this before it comes out. I highly recommend it. Obviously, it's my number 1 pick. I hope that means, that says something, that I'm putting it up there as my number 1 over anything else that's coming out this week coming up. So, but Barbaric issue number 3, that is going to be my number 1 pick of the week. Oh, and a shout out to the writer Michael Morrissey and Nathan Gooden doing the artwork. Really enjoyed the art in this. Well worth it for that as well. So yeah, Barbaric issue number 3, that's my number 1 pick. And let me know in the comment section below, like I said, if you guys agree on this list, or if you think I missed something. I really appreciate it. Anyone here in the chat right now, in the premiere chat, thank you so much for hanging out. If you want to hang out with us next time, make sure you do so. These are always airing on Thursdays at 12:30 Eastern time. So make sure you check those out as well. Hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later.